I think the testing is very important. I
Yeah,
have a range of blood tests every 3 to 6 months, just to see how I'm doing,
yeah,
and then I'll tweak things if I think that changes need to be made. I try and have as few supplements as possible.
yeah. Me
I
too.
just take a vitamin D3 supplement every now and then if my blood test says I'm below the levels that I would like to achieve.
Yeah.
Um, and I used to take a DHA supplement,
Hmm.
like a natural DHA supplement, but now because I've added um, more oily fish and um, things like brain,
Yeah,
which is high in DHA and high in cholesterol as well, which is cholesterol is essential, as you'll know.
yeah, yeah.
All of the cells in our body rely on it to function optimally. So
Mm.
yeah, that it goes against that kind of myth of
I
high cholesterol being bad for you.
I think they're really sort of backtracking on that now, definitely.
Yeah,
So
it was
even
very
if
interesting when I
something,
went to see my GP because he was concerned about my blood cholesterol. Uh, when I went to see him last, and he had me do a blood test, and my HDL cholesterol was above optimal levels, and my LDL had gone down. This is, I have well over 200 grams of fat every day,
mm, yeah,
and my ratio of protein to fat is I have 85% fat in my diet and 15% protein per day. And
okay,
then
yeah,
I don't have to count the carbs because there's
yeah,
not negligible amounts in organ meats. There is some, but it's doesn't give you that same insulinogenic effect that certain carbohydrates is typical, like the leafy
yeah,
green carbs would. So
yeah, exactly. Or
yeah,
also protein. I mean, if there are some foods that are quite insulinogenic, so that's obviously because you keep that to 15%. That's,
yeah.
I guess, not an issue either.
No, and it's helpful having the organ meats because things like sweetbreads per serving, it has about 20 grams of fat in the uh, well, per serving that I have.
So it's easy
um,
to calculate as well then.
yeah, I still weigh all my foods so that and I have spreadsheets logging just everything I'm eating. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a lot of fun at parties.
Yeah, are you there with your weighing scales and
Yeah. Well,
I
usually
actually
what I
did.
do if I'm going out somewhere is I just I prepare everything before and I weigh everything out and
Yeah.
I make cricket flour bread and I take that out
And are
or I
people
make
keen to
a
try it then as well, or does has anybody else have they said, oh well, can I try a little bit and have a taste?
yeah. My girlfriend reluctantly tried it.
Great,
And
yeah.
she actually found it tolerable, but she found it a bit weird. She didn't know what to make of it.
Okay.
Um, but I've made it with duck eggs recently, and it seems to taste. It gives it a different kind of taste. It's kind of a
Yeah.
nutty, kind of richer taste. So I use duck eggs a lot now because
Yeah.
they just have bigger yolks that even if it's a comparable size to a chicken egg, the yolks tend to be a bit larger, and it gives it just a richer taste. And I think just I like having that extra fat, and
Yeah,
it's
definitely. Yeah. And I think a lot of people actually who are egg intolerant, like me, I am quite sensitive to hen's eggs, and
mm,
duck eggs are a lot easier to
yeah,
tolerate, or I just don't have the same symptoms. So
mm,
I most of the time I just have it about twice a week anyway, because there is this sensitivity, so I don't want to overdo it, but I tolerate them a lot better as well. So that's interesting that you using them quite a bit as well. And so
yeah.
what would a typical day look like then? What would you have for breakfast?
Well, for breakfast, firstly, I would start the day with my uh, new epilepsy medication. So at the moment, I've transitioned from taking MCT oil um, to having Keto Force, which
Oh,
is,
cool. Yeah. The
yeah,
supplements. Yeah.
yes. So that is, I would say it's kind of like, it doesn't taste great, but it
No.
it, it raises my ketones to the level where my symptoms are completely controlled. Um, and I don't have the side effects that I would have having medication.
Mm.
Um, so because I still have, I think if you have any kind of acquired brain injury, you still need to. I see ketone bodies as my medication now. So
Very
um,
neuroprotective. Yeah.
yeah, so I've just replaced my epilepsy medication with the gradually over time with initially MCT oil and now Keto Force, which is great because I found that the Keto Force doesn't give me the stomach cramps and the diarrhea that I had initially with the MCT oil. It
Yeah.
doesn't make me feel nauseous at all, and it just
Okay.
makes me feel very alert. So um,
Brilliant.
yeah,
Because did you have the problem as well with MCT? I don't tolerate it well. I get
no, I
nauseous.
tolerate it
Yeah.
terribly.
Yeah.
So
I'm the
to
same.
have this supplement is just fantastic, and yeah, I've only been having it for a few days now, and it's just the difference is just immediately noticeable.
Wow.
So I
Great.
would start the day with that at 9 a.m., which is when I used to take my medication.
Hmm.
Um, then I wouldn't be hungry until about 12. So at 12 today, I will be having my usual breakfast, which is scrambled eggs and lamb's brain, which is about that big.
Okay.
Um, it actually gets bigger once you after it's been after you've removed the membranes through boiling it and then leaving it and then
Okay.
cooking with it.
So do you
Um,
chop it up and make like a little sort of a stew and just fry it, or how
yeah,
do
I
you
do
just put it in
differently every
whole?
time. So
Okay.
often I have it mixed with scrambled eggs.
Hmm.
So it gives the scrambled eggs a kind of a creamy, saltier taste to it. So you don't need to add salt because it naturally has sodium. So I very rarely add salt to my um, foods just because the the Keto Force has sodium in it, and the uh, brains have sodium, and then I just add a little bit of sea salt to oily fish. So
Mm.
every day I would have for breakfast at midday I would have scrambled eggs and brain, usually as a typical meal,
Hmm.
and I would mash in 40 grams of ghee. Um, so that meal is around 60 to 70 grams of fat, and at least I'd say around 25 grams of protein.
Hmm.
It's all measured out to what works for me as an individual. Then around 3 o'clock, I would have, throughout the day, I would be drinking bone broth as well,
Okay.
just when I get thirsty
Hmm.
instead of water. That's usually what I have. But sometimes I do just have water. And then around 3, or I would have I make a kind of a pizza with which is just it's usually 2 eggs, usually duck eggs, mixed with ghee as well,
Hmm.
and then I add 70 grams of streaky bacon, which I make sure it doesn't have added sugar or any nasties in it,
Yeah.
because you have to be very careful with that. Even with meat, often things are added to it. And I would just stick that in the oven after mixing it all together for 25 minutes, and then put it in a tray where it kind of molds it into a kind of pizza shape.
Mm,
So
that's nice. Yeah.
because it's so fatty after you've cooked it,
Mm,
you kind of leave it to cool, and
yeah.
then stick it in the fridge for a short while, and then it comes out, and it's like a pizza, because I also add Mediterranean herbs to that, so
Okay,
I
great.
actually get
Yeah.
that kind of Italian taste.
Brilliant. Yeah. So are you
And then
okay to use herbs and spices?
in
Um,
little amounts because of the
okay.
salicylate
Yeah.
sensitivity,
Mm.
but usually I have things like turmeric, which it's anti-inflammatory, and it
Yeah.
has anti-tumor properties. So I have turmeric. Sometimes I have cinnamon to help lower blood glucose. I'm thinking of experimenting with mushroom extracts and odorless garlic and
Mm-hmm.
uh, resveratrol as an anti-inflammatory for the brain.
Yeah.
So just yeah, I'm still experimenting and learning lots of trying to adapt and learning new ways of optimizing this diet.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, so for dinner, typically I would have just some type of oily fish. So I'd have mackerel or sardines, salmon, fresh from the fish counter.
Okay. Yeah.
I just ask lots of questions about it as well.
I
So
know. Yeah.
they
Same
find me a
here.
bit annoying,
Annoying.
but it's
Yeah.
good.
I know.
So yeah, that's typically what I would do. But usually, often for my lunch, instead of that pizza, I would have a type of organ meat. So I would um, I would just alternate. So one day I would have sweetbreads. One day I might have I'm experimenting. So my next thing I'm trying is lamb fries, which is lamb's testicles.
Okay.
So that would be interesting because I
Yeah.
haven't tried that and I'm a bit squeamish about it. I'm also experimenting with trying different insects. So for that lunch meal, I might, instead of adding the bacon, I might add things like wax worms,
Okay.
which
And where do you get them?
I have a local, well, I say local, it's in Bristol. There's an insect farm in Bristol where you can
Oh,
get
right. Okay.
a number of different insects. And waxworms and beetles are the fattiest kind of insects. So they're good for a ketogenic diet.
Interesting. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just difficult working out the ratios of fat and protein, but
Yeah.
um, it's interesting with insects because you're eating the whole animal, so you're getting a variety of nutrients there. And if you look at indigenous populations of certain countries uh, that have low rates of malignancy, they were eating insects as their primary protein source, along
Yeah.
with these organ meats. So,
Mm, mm.
and they, as we discussed earlier, they understood the health benefits of adding these foods. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And I know there's still, when I was traveling, yeah, in Asia, it's still quite common as well.
yeah,
That what they sometimes do with them, like deep frying a
yeah,
lot and all of that, that's obviously questionable, but it's still
yeah,
part of their diet. And I think here we're just so squeamish about anything. I mean, organ meat, whenever I tell people to start incorporating that, because also if you watch an animal kills another animal, they don't eat the muscle, they eat the
no.
heart, they
The
eat
first thing they go to is normally
the
a
organ.
predatory animal, is yeah, the organs, and
Mm,
typically it'll be the liver first because that is just they instinctively know
it's
that
nutrient
has
dense, yeah.
the most yeah,
Mm.
beneficial nutrients.
And heart is actually nice as well. I had some beef
Yeah,
heart the other day,
and
and it was good. Yeah.
Heart, interestingly, is a fantastic source of coenzyme Q10, which
Yeah.
people pay a lot of money to get in
I
these
know.
pills. So just crazy how.
I think because nobody buys organ meat here, it's so cheap.
Yeah.
You know, that's what often people say as well. So how do you afford all these foods? It sounds very expensive, but organ meats, they're just, because there's absolutely no demand. A lot of farmers, I know, they just throw them out.
A lot of them I get for free, and
yeah,
it's just crazy, but it benefits me, so I don't mind.
Well, that might change.
But the interesting thing is, where I live, you know, if you went across the channel to France, you'd pay a lot of money to eat brain in a French restaurant. It's a very chefy food.
Yeah.
And even if you go on YouTube, there's videos of Gordon Ramsay cooking with brain and sweetbreads, and Hugh Fernley Whittingstall, and Gordon. There's Gordon Ramsay. There's Heston Blumenthal cooking with brains, and it's just really interesting. It's a very chefy food, but it's something we used to eat a long time ago. But there's kind of this people are squeamish about it now, and it's the leaner cuts are more, you know.
It's all because of the low fat guidelines as well, I guess, you know.
Yeah,
definitely. People just want chicken breasts and, you know, some lean cuts of lamb and beef, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. So, but I really hope that'll change again. I mean, it is slowly becoming a bit more mainstream. Okay, fat is okay.
Definitely. And it's quite encouraging, I think. And,
it's not a nutrient of concern anymore, and so, as they call it, and cholesterol as well. So
and I'm very keen to push forward with all this stuff in when I start my work in the clinical settings at Charing Cross. I'm very excited about that. And I'm also writing a book at the moment, which is titled Taking Control.
Yeah.
And that's all about what I've been discussing with you now. The majority of the profits of the book will go towards research into metabolic therapy at Imperial College. So that's really exciting as well. They're, you know, at the forefront of this, in this country, they're at the forefront of this research, in collaboration with Adrian Scheck at the Barrow Institute, Neurological Institute in the US. So it's really exciting.
So is she on board then with you as well?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant! Great.
So that's very helpful. She works with my oncologist, and the research is at Imperial College, which it's really exciting. Charing Cross has the by far the best survival rates for brain cancer in this country. So they're very into novel treatments and open to the metabolic theory of cancer. So it's a very rare thing, and but it's a fantastic. It's very encouraging for the future.
And I think, I mean, I've had a few really absolutely mind-blowing results with clients in terms of brain cancer. And just the latest was a 3.5-year-old girl, and she was diagnosed when she was 6 months, and she had lots of chemo, and that sort of, it worked in terms of it got rid of the metastasis that she had, and it kept the tumor stable. But then I think it was at the beginning of this year, the scans changed again, and there was more activity. The tumor started to grow again, and they didn't want to do more treatment. I mean, she really needs a break, and probably wouldn't tolerate it at the moment. So we started keto in March, towards the end of March, and 2 months later she had a scan, and it's stable. It's stopped growing, and the great thing is as well, we were talking about it earlier about quality of life. Her mom said she's just, in general, her eczema is gone. She has regular bowel movements, which she never had before. And we worked on her vitamin D levels as well. They were totally floored. And her mood is obviously better. She sleeps better. And so it's just all in all, it just, she put on a little bit of weight, which was great, which she hadn't been able to do before. And she's just much happier and in more energy and better form, which obviously is, the mom said, even if it's just that.
As well.
Yeah.
I've had just huge changes in what I'm able to do. I feel almost 100% as I was previously, which is a huge thing.
Yeah.
My last scan showed no disease, no enhancement, no increased blood volume around the tumor sites. Just a very tiny amount of scar tissue, which is only a few millimeters, which has healed dramatically over time. And just the symptoms of, the seizure activities are just completely, when I'm in my ranges, my therapeutic ranges of ketosis and with the lower blood glucose that works for me as an individual, I have 100% control of my symptoms, which is just, I still find it quite remarkable.
Yeah, that's unbelievable, really.
But it's definitely working.
Yeah.
I've also got a website that I'm currently working on, which is www.metabolictherapy.co.uk, and that will be an area where I'm sharing what I'm doing and sharing research with different people. Also talking about what I'll be doing at Charing Cross Hospital, trying to get some proper clinical trials going with ketogenic diets for not just brain cancer, but adults with epilepsy, and also spreading awareness of that there are a variety of options. Also discussing drug cocktails, so discussing what Ben Williams has done. How he was diagnosed with glioblastoma in '95, and he's still here today. I met him last year, and it was a surreal experience. Wow. He's so just you wouldn't be able to tell. He's just very sharp mentally, and he seems to be just doing great. Very
And is he on the ketogenic diet as well?
I think I don't think he's on a ketogenic diet, but he has made changes to his diet, and he takes a number of anti-inflammatory agents and compounds. So it's a drug cocktail that seems to target the same pathways that a ketogenic diet would.
Right.
Which is it's very interesting. I had his book, and I also know that he was it's quite interesting. He was he went and had tamoxifen with his alongside the standard chemotherapy that's
interesting,
proved to be ineffective for brain cancer. But he did some research where the tamoxifen may have a beneficial effect on the tumor, and it seems to have we still don't know if it's all the other stuff with the drug cocktails that he that had the response where the inoperable tumor shrank to nothing, or if it was the tamoxifen or the combination of the two. So
that's often the problem, isn't it? What works, is it the combination or a single compound?
My theory would be that I think it would most likely be the combination of all of it, all of the things that he did.
Exactly.
Because I know that in animals, even a restricted ketogenic diet only prolongs survival. It doesn't have these miraculous cures. So I'm very interested to see even just with my own experiments what happens with me experimenting with my own version of a ketogenic diet and all these anti-inflammatory methods of what I'm attempting to do. And I'm trying to get hyperbaric oxygen therapy for myself as well. So
that's that can be extremely effective in combination with ketogenic.
And we know that in the mouse models, these tumors can completely disappear and not come back for a mouse's whole life expectancy.
Yeah.
With a combination of the restricted ketogenic diet, hyperbaric oxygen therapy, and what's the other thing?
And
ketonest
and the
as well.
supplement. Yeah, exactly.
So that's the one thing that I'm attempting to add to my program and to get more acceptance for, because at the stage I'm at now, I'm in the fortunate position where I don't have any visible tumor there, but I know there may be some microscopic cells in that area left where there was residual disease. So
right, okay, yeah.
I'm keen to see if I can, I would never say cure, but I think that certainly I believe that this disease can be managed indefinitely.
Exactly, yeah.
I think management is the key term here.
Yeah,
that we need to use.
Exactly.
Because we have no idea of, if someone was to go off this kind of restricted ketogenic diet, if the tumor would just, immediately come back. Because
you don't want to try that, obviously.
No.
But I have heard, anecdotal evidence that that's what can happen quite easily. Yeah. That, somebody's doing really well on the ketogenic diet and they think, okay, great, I go back to whatever I was doing before for whatever reason, and it came back quite quickly. But obviously you can't do any ethically acceptable trials with that, so it's just based on assumptions. But I do think it's very much a multidisciplinary approach. It's not just ketogenic, and that's what people have to understand. I think it is a lot of work. I mean, exercise is absolutely crucial as well, I think, and the whole emotional aspect as well. I mean, that's something I'm constantly working on as well. I know that there is an emotional component to my illness, and I think in most cancer patients that's the case, and stress management as well, all that. And actually in the University of Kansas, I was listening to a really interesting interview recently. They do a combination of intravenous vitamin C, low dose chemo, ketogenic, hyperbaric, and all that they combine, and they have absolutely excellent results. So I think it's all these different components that then can make all the difference.
It's definitely that kind of cocktail approach of treatments. It's controversial, the drug area, even though some have had success in it. But because I believe that with a ketogenic diet and just increasing ketones in the blood, maybe through supplementation alongside that, and this oxygen therapy, it's been shown, with KetoPet, we need to show it with, which is the dogs with cancer who are treated in the US.
I know.
It's really interesting to follow. It's been shown with dogs with brain cancer, and interestingly, dogs get more brain tumors than humans.
I didn't know that.
I think you could suggest maybe that's because we're feeding the dogs with wheat and man-made materials rather than the standard diets. But that's a discussion that's controversial somewhat. But with the dogs, the tumors, you can follow them. It's really interesting. They seem to just completely disappear with this kind of treatment of different modalities combined, which is, I find that very interesting. So I'd like to see that with humans.
And I guess the whole drug cocktail thing, it really is for people who just can't possibly have the discipline and the willpower to follow a ketogenic diet.
I would say also if they have very advanced disease, so they don't have time to adapt onto a ketogenic diet. I think a drug cocktail treatment would be more efficacious and more useful in that in that scenario.
In that case, yeah, exactly. And but obviously you always then have the side effects again, which you have a lot less with a dietary approach. So
Yeah, I
guess
would
it's
see it
giving
as a short term,
yeah,
a short term
yeah,
benefit, and then
exactly.
ideally they would, go on to a ketogenic diet.
Yeah, transition on, yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, it's a fascinating topic, and
Yeah,
I'm delighted that you're going to do all this important work, and that it's a fantastic opportunity.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it very
Spread
much.
the word.
I'm seeing my neurologist in a couple of weeks to talk about it as well. So
Brilliant. Yeah.
we're
So
going to move forward with things as quickly as possible. So
yeah, so it's great that it's a multidisciplinary approach. I guess that's just fantastic, and having both complementary and conventional aspects then integrated. So
yeah, definitely.
brilliant, yeah. So great. I'll let you go and have your brain.
Yes.
Okay, thanks a million, and have a great afternoon. And
Great. You
chat
too.
to you soon,
Great
hopefully.
to chat to you.
Okay, take care. Bye, Andrew.
Bye.